Woodshed, which is my CNC production shop. So come on in and let me give you an update. The shop has really filled out since my last tour 2 years ago, but the layout is still roughly the same. It's a full woodworking shop up front with 3 CNCs in the back. 2 shop bots on the right there, with the shop saber being on the left, and the saber being the only vacuum bed in the fleet. The main question I get asked about the Woodshed is what sort of jobs do we tackle? And the answer is large production runs of things. We aren't a custom one-off shop. I'm looking for clients that want between 100 and 10,000 of the same thing. Most of the clients we work with now have been with us for a while, so we not only have the process tuned in and figured out, but we're also the go-to shop for when they want to expand their SKUs and develop more ideas. One of my favorite things is seeing the wide variety of products that people have that they want made. There is a lot I haven't filmed over the last 2 years, but we keep a lot of prototypes and spares around here, so let me show you a handful. The job we're currently running are these Lego sorters, which are really fun. You throw in all your Legos on the top one, give it a shake, and then you're able to peel off the different trays, and you can see that it sorts them according to size. Pete, the designer, first started making and selling large ones, but then expanded the line to smaller ones, and now has developed a line of French cleat storage. Then you have the OG, the original, that started all of this back whenever I was doing it solo out of my personal shop, and that is the Texas whiskey display. Whenever you buy a bottle of whiskey, the tops are all unique, so the customers collect them and wanted a display. I created that display, and then the company found it and asked if I could make more. This has expanded to a few different SKUs so that they can offer their clients a variety. These are the extra parts from a cool product we did this year called Aqua Sprouts. It houses a fish tank on the bottom and then lets you grow herbs or garden on top by using aquaponics. By the way, this rack is where we keep all the extra parts for our repeat jobs. Every year we cut out new calendars, which are cute little desk calendar holders. Then this tub is a few calendar holders a company called Roseburg had us do for a corporate event. Then this is a bin of watch holder parts, which is another fun job to show you. A jewelry maker called The Smooth Cut designed and started making watch holders, clocks, laptop holders, really just a wide variety of beautiful things. Well, then he saw my first video and reached out and asked if we could take over production. We would love to. In fact, we are working on an order right now of the large watch holders. The shop saber is used for any of our higher tolerance jobs, and Jacob has really become a fan of utilizing gaskets as a hold down method. He has made several versions for larger jobs that the time spent up front on making it will pay off by not having tabs to mess with. All of the highly utilized jigs are kept close at hand here on the shelf. This one with the circles is for an order of bar stool seats, which I think is really satisfying to watch cut out. This one is Jacob's more universal hold down. For example, when he's prototyping something, he'll remove the 4x8 spoil board and set this jig only at the front, using those locating pins on the shop saber, which I highly recommend getting as an option. Then he keeps a sheet of polystyrene under the next machine in order to throw it on the back of the saber to not lose the suction. Same when he places on the board. This board only covers 2 gaskets, which is plenty to hold it down, but then he covers up the rest to not let the air escape. This is also the jig used for hardwood materials like making the ends of the watch holders. Jacob cuts the boards to fill up all of the gaskets, then lets the machine run. Vacuum beds are awesome, but the more holes you put in something, the less suction you'll have. Another job we do often is cut large acrylic circles that have a lot of holes around the border. Jake uses sheets to cover up the holes already punched in order to leave as much suction as possible for that main piece. By the way, the entire team calls Jacob the Jig Master. He comes up with so many cool jigs. The only thing on the saber that is broken are these plastic knobs for the vacuum shut off and on. Jacob cut out this large handle with magnets on the face that can be slipped on and off the knobs to give you easy leverage to turn them. This jig here, imagine having a whole bunch of dowels that aren't round but need a tenon cut in on one end. Jacob created a jig. That back row has a tenon cut in on them and the front is patiently waiting. This sheet is a jig that will hold a bunch of 1x boards that uses cams in order to clamp down on them. This vertical jig is also a Jacob add-on for holding long boards on end so the CNC can get to the end grain. Oh, and this one, let's say you need a bunch of these dividers. How do you make that go quickly? A jig. Jake put this crate together so that an entire line of parts could be ran through at the same time to cut in their slit. Then they could be flipped and repeated. These aren't even a fraction of the jigs he's made. Literally, with every job there is something that needs to be solved, and he typically does that with some clever jig. Jacob uses that same skill in order to outfit the shop and improve the way it operates or runs. Such as when he designed and then cut out these CNC-able shelves that fit baker racks and is now our tool wall. Then when we ran out of racks, he redesigned it slightly to fit standard 1x boards, and we threw up more along the top of the wall to house shipping supplies. There's a custom fence on the router, sandpaper storage on the consumable shelves. One of the workbenches wasn't functional enough, so he threw together a larger footprint with clamping space and inside storage. He even made a giant handle for the employee break room door. Which, if you didn't watch the first tour video, the break room is where the kitchen and bathroom are and where we can have team meetings or enjoy lunch together. Other jobs that are regular is a woman who makes pin looms. I didn't even realize this was a thing, but I think it's amazing she created a solution for people into this. She actually lives outside of the US and has us handling manufacturing as well as shipping to her US customers. We are still cutting all the MDF templates Rockler is now selling in their stores nationwide. And then we're also doing this for my brand, Wilker Do, as well as a few others. A big key to running so many jobs through this small of a shop is to be organized. We have a lot of repeat jobs, but in two different categories. One is ongoing repeats like Wilker Do's and other creator templates. These have dedicated shop space for the inventory, but kept separately, either by shelves or by sections in the shop. Then other repeat jobs where the same customer will order the same thing, but at 2 or 3 different times a year. If it's a high frequency, then the spare inventory is out in the main shop space, like on the rack I showed you earlier. Another way we stay organized is we have home for just about everything. Tools, clamps, consumables, recycle, wood scraps. As soon as it comes off the CNC, it goes here. Any hardwood scraps that can be reused go into a pile to be sold to walk-ins. Piles and piles of sheet goods are always coming into the shop. So back in the design layout stage, we thought about how to always have room for a forklift to come in through the bay door, but make its way to the back where the CNCs are. This also acts as the main walking thoroughfare and the occasional skateboard lane. Sheet goods are stored on 2 racks, so things are clearly visible and accessible, with usable scrap sheets being neatly piled with the edge facing the shop. Now, besides asking what sort of jobs the woodshed takes on, the next most asked question I get is what my opinion of the shop saber is. Please watch the first video to hear about my experience with the other machines and a more thorough walkthrough on the saber. But yes, even 2 years later, I still stand by that this machine is a game changer for a shop like mine. I started making templates as my main production business, so the shop bots in the Laguna were just fine. But having a higher quality machine is a make or break for getting the higher tolerance jobs like the woodshed has moved into. To hear more details about what set this machine apart, but it's not only made with higher quality results in mind, but also more efficiency for the shop itself. Sometimes we use the saber not necessarily because the job requires tight tolerances, but because it's the only one I have in the fleet that has an automatic tool changer. If your question is it worth the money to have a tool changer? The answer is yes. I cannot imagine a situation where you're trying to be a production shop and the answer is no. An example, on the Lego sorters, there are 7 bits that are needed for the entire job. And guess what? Jacob can place all 7 in the back lineup. Then when he hits the start button to run the file, it can work for the next few hours while he's prototyping the next thing. While we're talking about changing bits, check out his station for that. He has an air hose on a reel so the components can be blown out every time a bit needs to be changed. One toolbox drawer is full of bits, while the one right above is full of the holders. He has a block on top with the tool changer attached, and then the wrench never leaves this area. I feel like I can keep talking for days because this shop is full of fun things to discuss, but I'll go ahead and leave it there for now. Leave me a comment down below if you want me to dive deeper into a certain area on the next update. Also, if you have a production job you want to explore outsourcing or just want to support a Texas-based company, then I will leave you the information down below. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I will see you on my next video.